I explain what white tea actually is, you will probably never oversteep your white tea ever again. Okay, white tea is the least processed tea out there. Okay, not only is it the least processed, but it is also the tea that is picked at the earliest stage of growth. So it's for those of you that are into gardening and horticulture, it's when a bud of leaf just comes out and it's still curled, and sometimes has like a white fuzz on it. That's when they pick the tea. Right? So it's very, very delicate, right? But from a Chinese herbal perspective, that delicate leaf also has a lot of yang qi, right? A lot of medicinal potency, right? So in Chinese herbology, it's believed that those kinds of buds contain the most kind of nutrient factors because there's a lot of energy trying to develop from that bud, right? It's trying to express life, and that's when it's at its most potent. So the only people in Chinese history that were allowed to drink white tea were the emperors and his family. Nobody else was allowed to have it, right? It was against the law, right? So today you're gonna get to try some that back in about 2,000 years ago could have gotten you killed to just even look at, right? Yeah, so, yeah, yay for it. White tea is very available now. This one is a white tea again, produced or compiled by Itoen, and this one is called a peach white. So this one has been matched with peach leaves, and there's some peach blossoms in there, and these kinds of things, and you'll get like subtle hints of peach in the tea with the white. The only tricky aspect is I have to be really sure about the water temperature. Because the tea is so light, this is the tea that can get damaged by hot water the most. Yes?
What about the powdered teas that I've seen in Japanese tea ceremonies?
Yeah.
Where they just scoop a little and they have the leaves as well. What's that all about?
That one is called matcha. Matcha tea. Matcha tea is a ground up, typically gyokuro tea. Gyokuro is a type of green tea production that's grown under full shade. It never sees full sun, right? Typically they'll put black or red canopies over the fields, and they never get direct sunlight ever in their entire life. And then those leaves get really, really dark green, and they get really concentrated chlorophyll flavors. Then they take that, dry them out naturally in air. Once they're dried, they ground them down into a fine powder, and that's what that tea is. So matcha tea has become very popular nowadays. And that may be like the most tea-like tea you'll ever have. That's kind of, a lot of people consider it like the espresso of tea. It's very full-bodied. You get the grains of the tea in the tea leaf itself, similar to Turkish coffee if you've ever had it, right? If you open the container and you drink the tea as quickly as possible before it oxidizes, it will be a very pleasurable experience. Unfortunately, they're really expensive. For like half an ounce of tea, it could be anywhere from $5 to $25. I've seen some half-ounce containers up to $150. And those particular teas, as soon as you open it, because they are so they've never had to live a difficult life, right? That once they hit oxygen, they go fast. They'll go within 5 days as soon as you open it.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Some people will stretch it out, and you can. And if you do stretch it out, it'll now taste like this. So the longer you wait, the more it'll taste like sencha. The earlier it is, it'll taste like gyokuro or matcha. And it's a very unique kind of flavor. Right? So if you've had it, I definitely recommend trying it. Most of the cafes that serve matcha, I say that they're probably going through them fast enough that it's staying pretty fresh, because it is a fairly popular item. And you do kind of use a lot of it in a single cup. So. Most of the white teas I like to steep below 160. Sometimes I used to steep them actually at about 140. 140, 130. I've kind of stepped away from that practice a little bit and steeping it a little bit warmer. One of my teachers once said that for white tea, I should treat it like giving a baby a bath, right? If a baby feels comfortable in the water, then your white tea will feel comfortable in the water, right? And it will fully express itself. I find that actually with the types of steeping that I do, slightly warmer temperature will yield a faster result and a little bit more complexity because it adds a little bit of astringency and bitterness that kind of helps because the sweetness is so kind of fleeting. So once I do this, I highly recommend that you go right into it as quickly as possible, right? So let's see. Anyone want any more of this before I rinse this one?
Either way, that's good. Anybody else?
Always gotta get that ironed out.
That's good. Thank you.
Glenn, you gonna have any tea?
Are you having more?
Oh, you wanna try this? You wanna sit down?
There's another chair over
Yeah,
there.
there's chairs here too.
Come on up.
Sorry. You said with the white tea there is no oxidation whatsoever, right? Because with the manual, that was the black tea, right?
Which one?
Thank you.
The oolong.
The oolong
Because I
is
could tell it looked like it was like rolled into like little.
yeah.
little
That one
balls.
is what would be considered semi-oxidized.
Okay.
Yeah, or partial oxidation.
And you're also talking about some of the tea was smoked.
Yes.
And that would be a full oxidation.
Full oxidation, yeah. I actually have an example of a smoked tea, an Indian Malagra, but it's very old, but I'll show it to you and you can smell the tea. I don't want to serve it just because it's an older tea, but you're more than welcome to smell what a smoky black tea smells like. A lot of the smoke flavor has kind of dissipated over the years. Let's rinse this one out too. Usually in a small pot like this, about 30, 40 seconds. Any longer and I feel that it's, you lose too much of the delicate flavors that are in this tea. And if you want to take a look, you can even see some of the blossoms in there. There's one blossom there. There's a variety of different leaves in there to help create that flavor profile.
See some blossoms.
So what about
This is
the
good.
flower?
Flower?
That's cause that I don't
Oh, yeah.
really know enough about tea culture.
Flowering?
It seems so like a pretty experience.
It is. Flowering tea is essentially tea that has been prepared and tied together literally with flowers and herbs and other kinds of varietals of tea that create a kind of like pleasant experience both visually as well as flavor-wise and scent-wise.
Is it something that like we just kind of came up with? Is it something that's like a traditional kind of thing? Is it more of a
I want to say it's a technique. In China, they claim that the technique has existed for hundreds of years. Unfortunately, there has been no historical documentation that it has. Considering that the Chinese have written documents that are over 2,000 years old of tea in great detail, but not once did they ever mention flowering tea. So I think flowering tea is definitely a more kind of 20th century creation or later 20th century creation. Probably my assumption is sometime in the 60s and 70s. Creative tea manufacturers in China wanted to market their teas a certain way, and this was one of those ways that they did that, right? And I'll definitely show you. I have one today, so we can try a flowering tea and you can see what it looks like. The white tea. You're all trying.
definitely
aromatic.
And if you want to come by, and you can also come and smell